What do you do after you have either played or ran a bad session? As a player, you have that sort of question in your head, do I stay in this group? And depending on how bad it is, that might be, where you pull the ripcord and go flying out of that game. But in my experience, I found that if I sometimes go back and give a game a chance, maybe talk to the GM and other players about any problems that they had, that things can get better. So it's not always great to just hit the road because you might be missing out on a group that can mend its ways and change and, you know, whatever dysfunction is going on, probably something to do with personality or group dynamics. Hopefully that can get sorted out. It doesn't always get sorted out though. Leaving is definitely something that has to be done sometimes. And I did a video a while back that I had to pull down because of the choice of song I put on it, but there are times when no matter what you do, it's unhealthy to hang out in a group any longer. You get nothing but just grief for sticking around and hanging out with these people. So leaving is an option. But if you are interested and in trying to make a group better and just trying to stick things out for a little while just to see if things can change, I suggest a few things. As a player, like I said, talk to the GM and players, try to air out your grievances, like it's Festivus, and see what can come of that. That may just make it worse, and somebody might not think they have any problems, and again, time to pull the ripcord. But as a GM, what do you do? Let's say that you planned something and it just went awry. It was terrible. Nobody was interested. Maybe you made a few bad calls as a GM. Maybe you just rubbed some player the wrong way. Maybe you made a mistake. And I've done this before too, where I just really regret something I chose to do. Some sort of decision where you had like multiple options and you just happened to pick the exact wrong one. And that's what came flying out of your mouth like diarrhea all over the player, like exorcist puke, the pea soup. And you wish you could pull that stuff back, but once it's left, it's gone. So, but between games, you can talk to people, say, hey, you know what? I looked at the book. You were right. I thought you were dead wrong. I checked on page 237, and lo and behold, you were correct. I apologize for that. Now we know from now on we won't do that. Or if it's a personality clash, maybe there's certain topics that player doesn't like brought up, and that was what made it bad. There's a lot of reasoning, a lot of reasons why a game can go bad. Often for me, I found that if I have no prep, the game can either go really well if I've had enough sleep and my, creative muse is kicking and my improvisation skills just, run wild. I've had great sessions like that. But if I haven't got a lot of sleep, if there's stuff going on with my family, if I'm just not in the right frame of mind, I can have a bad session. And I've realized that about myself that sometimes it's better to just cancel. Say, hey guys, I got 2 hours of sleep last night. I'm kind of sick. I've been fighting with my wife. I'm just not in the right frame of mind to get together with you guys. But other people are different. Maybe they get a little crazy, but in a good way when they have a lack of sleep. So know yourself, know how you like, and try to prevent those problems before they happen. But to try to clean up the mess afterwards, we always talk about communication, but don't be afraid to say that you made a mistake. I think most players would appreciate that. That I thought about it after the fact. I was laying in bed last night and I just couldn't get it out of my head. I made the wrong call. I did the wrong thing. I shouldn't have forced you guys down that path. Whatever bad GM behavior that you happen to show that day. And that takes a little bit of strength to admit you did something wrong and to apologize for it. And I think that can go a long way to helping those group dynamics to, show your players that you're not perfect. You're going to mess up from time to time, but that you're willing to own up to it and try to improve. So, it's just a few thoughts on that. Another thing that I'm usually pretty bad at is beating myself up for these mistakes and errors in judgment, errors in the calls that I made. and I'll just just it's like beating a dead horse, except it's me. And if you're that kind of person, it's really kind of hard to get out of that mindset, especially if you like really mess something up. And all those negative thoughts can get to the point where you'll fumble the whole campaign. I had a bad session. I don't think things are working out. How about we just end this campaign, guys? I don't think I'll run anymore. And it's really hard for players to hear, especially if they put a lot of work into their characters. And even as a GM, you probably put a lot of work into maybe a setting or the campaign or the NPCs. And even you don't want to end the campaign, but you just feel uncomfortable sitting down in that hot seat, the GM chair again, and looking at all the players across the table. It's almost like giving a public speech because that's your audience, and you really just messed up. So try to just wipe the slate clean. Realize that you're only human. It was a bad session. Every GM has one. Even the best GMs out there are going to have an off day. They're going to have a day where instead of mountains, they're in the valleys, and it's just how it is. There's a little bit of probability and randomness in there, and life throws everyone curveballs. So try to understand that the next session is brand new. Whatever mistakes you made last session, learn from them. Make them part of you. Understand that yes, you messed up, but now you know not to do that in the future. It's how we learn. I've made all kinds of horrible mistakes, you know, on all these games that I've ran over the years, mistakes as a player, and I've tried to be open about them so that maybe someone else can learn from my my dumbass mistakes. But just try to realize that just wipe the slate clean, start over. Uh, just try to get like a high five for everyone. Like what? Let's just forget last session even happened. Let's do this. Let's focus on having fun, and let's just see how this goes. So let me know what you would do if you just ran a bad session or you just played in a bad session. How do you bounce back from that? What kind of things do you try to think about? Just forgive yourself. Just, hey, you messed up, buddy. It's all right. But, any sort of feedback you have on this idea, I'd love to hear responses. So thanks. I'll see everyone later.